Alright, so Darnell wanted me to review this in the producer's cut. First, I'll review the theatrical cut of Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. Well, I thought, I've been putting this off for a while now. Thought, you know what, now is the time. I actually, just finished it, as you can see on my TV. I just finished watching it. I haven't seen this film since 2009. Long time, yeah, I know, long time. Darnell wanted me to review this, and I thought, hey, give it another chance. You did this with Rob Zombie's Halloween, and now Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. Alright. I'm going to be honest with you. I tried really hard going into this movie and not think about how the Thorn stuff bothers me. But you know what? It still bothers me. It bothered me then, and it bothers me now. And I have a pretty good reason for that. I have a good reason to have a bone to pick with that. Now, it's fine that Darnell and other people like this movie, but I'm sorry. If it weren't for that whole Thorn crap, this movie actually wouldn't be so bad. I would rate this movie higher if it weren't for Thorn. And the reason to blame for Thorn is because in Halloween 5, they rushed it and they didn't know what they were doing. They just rushed it. They just simply put stuff in the movie just for the sake of putting it there. They didn't have a plan. And because of that, we suffered the consequences for that, and we got this stupid Thorn crap. Why do I have a strong dislike for Thorn? Okay, as some of you know, Halloween, the original Halloween, is the movie that really got me into horror. Excuse me again. Michael Myers in the original was terrifying. No rhyme, no reason. He is a blank. He is evil in the shape of a human being, hence his name, The Shape. Hence as to why he was credited as The Shape in the original movie. All that you need to know about Michael Myers is Donald Pleasant's line about his devil's eyes in the original. That's all you need to know about him. Giving us this backstory ruins it. And now they kind of ruined it in Halloween 2 with the whole sister thing. But this is worse. That Thorn. And I heard the whole reason for Thorn because they were inspired by Rosemary's Baby. Rosemary's Baby is a good movie, but just because, if you're gonna put something in it from you're inspired by, that's fine, but at least have it be natural. I'll give Daniel Farron's props that he at least did the whole Thorn thing in an intelligent way. But that's still not saying much. It still ruins. Michael Myers is no longer The Shape. They never learned their lesson about this. They did it in this, and they did it again in Rob Zombie's Halloween. And then in Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, he's freaking... He's a hobo. I can imagine Michael Myers in Halloween in H2 2009. Have you ever seen that South Park episode about the hobos? Change. I can actually see Michael Myers as one of those hobos. That's not good. They never learn their freaking lesson. Jeez, it's like putting your hand in a fire over and over and over again. You should know it wasn't a good idea the first time. Jeez, please. I really don't like that Thorn crap. I really don't. But anyways, and I'm going to be honest, this film is not as bad as I remember it being when I first saw it in 2009, or when I last saw it. But it's still not. It still could have been a better movie, and I can understand why the film didn't turn out so good. It's because there was a lot of controversy behind the scenes. People were arguing so much, and that's why we have both the theatrical cut and the producer's cut. Now, I understand why Darnell likes this movie because it reminds him a lot of the first movie. And when I watched it again, yes, it did remind me of the first movie. But yeah, sometimes there's a little bit too much. Like sometimes it's like yes, sometimes having those nods to the original is good, but sometimes it went a little bit too far. It just feels like you're just watching the same movie all over again. Finding that balance is really, really hard. And if anybody can pull that off, then bravo. Alright. What I liked is that this movie actually did have some suspenseful scenes. Like the whole scene like when Deborah first encounters Michael Myers when he's behind her and all that. And like the whole, Michael cuts her with the axe. That actually was a pretty suspenseful scene. Mostly because I liked to pretend that this is still the Michael from the first movie. No rhyme, no reason. But because of the thorn crap, I'm sorry for bringing it up. But, yeah. You're probably sick of me hearing about this, but yeah. And I really, really like the music in this movie. It's really, really eerie, and it's suspenseful, but however, even the music has its flaws. The rock remix of the Halloween theme, and that rock remix of the Stalker theme, the dun, dun, dun. You know that the music in a horror movie isn't scary when you're headbanging instead of biting your nails. That's what I was doing. That's not good. That's not good. Stuff like that should only exist as fan remixes on YouTube, not in an actual freaking Halloween movie. And yes, this movie does answer some questions from Halloween 5, but it also leaves us with more questions. Like, first of all, it leaves the viewers, lead it on. Like, it leaves us hanging. It's like, okay, who is the father? And I know in the producer's cut, they give us the answer, and it's Michael Myers. Yes, Michael Myers raped his niece. I'll get to that later when I rewatch the producer's cut. You see, I can understand why they cut that out, but it leaves us hanging. It leaves the film with a plot hole. And a lot of people give J.C. Brandy shit, but to be honest with you, I personally didn't have a problem with her. She really didn't have much to do in the film anyway. And I'll give the film props like the makeup effects and the gore effects for her death scene actually looked pretty good. So I'll give the film props for that. And Tommy Doyle, played by Paul Rudd. Alright, he was an unsympathetic character to me. And that's really bad. Why? Because he's first introduced staring at freaking Kara Stroh, played by Marion Hagen, through that magnifying glass. Now, I can understand why he would be looking out the window and all that, because he's looking out for Michael Myers. But the first shot having him stare at her makes him look like a freaking pervert. And because of that, it makes him less sympathetic. Now, I can understand why he would be all obsessed with Michael Myers because of how he traumatized him as a kid. But that right there made him less sympathetic. And that's really bad for your hero of the film. And there's one other character who reminded me a lot of Butthead from Beavis and Butthead, and I thought that was pretty amusing. I don't know if that was intended or not, but I thought that was pretty funny. It was probably because, Beavis and Butthead was a really, really popular show at this time, and I can see why. Because it's like cool. Like, hey, baby. They like wanna die. Anyways, let's get serious now. I'll give the film props that it had at least some suspenseful scenes, but I also liked how in the beginning, they're trying to build up suspense, like, oh, is Michael out there still? My problem with that is that it's not as effective. It's because right before that, they showed some kills. If they would have, did the whole, oh, is he out there still first, and then the kills, that would have been more effective. And John's head exploding, the real jerk. It makes no sense, but it is at least a cool effect. And it kind of makes me wonder, the character John and Deborah were obviously named after John Carpenter and Deborah Hill. John Carpenter, I know, is not an asshole, but this John character in this movie was a real asshole. And it just kind of made me think, so does Daniel Ferrance think of John Carpenter as an asshole? Maybe I'm just overthinking it, but yeah. And also, the filmmakers kind of lead you on as to thinking that, oh, Danny's going to become the new Michael Myers. But it never pays off. Now, I can understand why they didn't, is because, oh, well, we already made them think Daniel Harris's character, Jamie Lloyd, was going to be the new Michael Myers, but never did. Well, okay, if you're not going to give us payoff, don't put it in there. Don't just put it in there for the sake of putting it in there. And yeah, I know that sounded wrong, but shut up. But yeah, they just should have taken out the whole thing about them leading you on that Danny is going to be the new Michael Myers, because that was kind of unnecessary. And the whole ending, it just it just makes you question. It's like, what? Yeah. That's my brutally honest opinion about Halloween 6. And one more thing, the mask looked a little bit off at times, but maybe that's just me. But yeah, that's my honest opinion. Now to watch the producer's cut. Take care, guys.